One of the big challenges for learners in working in an academic register is to depersonalise their writing, especially if they're writing about a personal experience. To demonstrate how we can do this, I'm going to use these two sentences in turn. They come from a piece of writing in which a learner reflects on a science investigation. It was published as part of the Science Standards files. In this first sentence, I want to look at how to replace the we to make it less personal and more academic. This is an embedded clause, so I'm going to hide that for the moment while we look at the main clause. I'll come back to it in a minute. We want the sentence to be about the test rather than the people who conducted it, so we're going to make this the subject of the sentence. Because the test can't do anything itself, it can only have things done to it, we're going to change the verb from active, could have made, to passive, could have been made, and then we're going to just carry down this better. We need to change this verb group, would be to use, and we're going to use a construction that we often find with passives, by plus ing. So here it's by using. And then we're going to carry down a better way of counting pulse. So if we go back to our embedded clause, we're going to make the data the subject again. We don't need to repeat the verb. Because it's so close to the verb in the main clause, it would sound repetitive, and if we leave it out, the reader will assume the verb applies here too. We've already replaced we as the subject and changed the verb group, so we no longer need we got. Now we're going to just carry down more reliable into our final sentence. Let's have a look at the second sentence now. Again, we've got the personal pronouns we don't want, as well as the reference to sir. This time, we want the sentence to be about the pulse rate meter, so we're going to do the same as we did with the last sentence and make it the subject. Again, we need to use a passive form because something's going to be done to it, so we use the same construction, could have been used. We could just lose like the one Sir showed us, but if we want to keep the idea of having been shown the pulse rate meter, we can depersonalise this too. I'm going to use the same process and put this into the passive, making the one my subject and making the verb passive. I can just lose by Sir and then do the same with to us. The way this reads now, like the one shown, could be a bit ambiguous. It might suggest the reader's being referred to an image of the meter, so I'm going to change the verb to demonstrated. And if I want to make it even clearer, I could add in the classroom. Now that it's been depersonalised, I can add this back into my noun group so it qualifies pulse rate meter. The subject of the second clause is it. This is very vague and it's not clear what it refers to. The message is about the data being accurate, so I'm going to make the data the subject, and I'm going to use was as my verb group. I don't need a modal here. And then I'm going to carry down completely accurate and for the whole lesson. By doing this, I no longer need given us, so I can just ignore it. The last thing I need to do is to join up the two parts of the sentence. I want to maintain the causality between them, so I'm going to stick with so that. So, to summarise, we've depersonalised the sentences by changing the subjects from references to people to the test, the data, and a pulse rate meter, and by changing most of the verb forms from active to passive.